Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming. Members of the news media, thank you for being here. We certainly appreciate the coverage that you give Mercer University and especially Mercer Athletics. We're here today to hold a news conference to announce some new administrative appointments. Just so you'll know, 4 people will be participating from the podium, and then certainly at the end of the news conference, we'll make it available for any questions from the podium or any of the individuals involved. I'm sure we'll be able to talk with you individually after the news conference. But to begin our news conference today, I would like to introduce and bring to the podium the president of Mercer University, Mr. William D. Underwood.
Well, thank you all for being here. This is an exciting day for the university. I just left the Hawkinsville Rotary Club, and I want to make sure I've got the right set of remarks here. Mercer is the only private university that competes in the highest level of the NCAA, Division I. We're the only private university in the state of Georgia that competes in the NCAA's highest level. More than 30 years ago, the university made a commitment to competing in Division I, and periodically we've renewed that commitment. And it's a commitment that we're serious about, and like everything we do, we want to do this well. Athletics, I think, is important in the life of a university. Athletics helps build community. Athletics creates common cause in a university. It provides events and occasions that bring all of us in a university community together. Athletics provides valuable learning opportunities for the young men and women who participate in intercollegiate athletics. They learn lessons about competition that serve them well throughout life, regardless of what field of endeavor they choose to pursue. Athletics brings visibility to the university, and by bringing visibility to the university allows us to tell the story of all the great things that are going on at the university. So for all these reasons, we're committed to our Division I athletics program at Mercer. Reflecting that commitment, we created the Mercer Athletic Foundation a couple of years back. The purpose for the Athletics Foundation was to generate the funds needed to support the endeavors of our student athletes. And that foundation is off to a great start. In just the past couple of years, they've added hundreds of new members. They've raised hundreds of thousands of dollars to support the work of our student athletes. They sold a record number of season tickets for basketball this year. All those things accomplished in just a couple of years of existence. The Mercer Athletic Foundation has matured to the point that it now requires full-time leadership. Bobby Pope and I recently discussed the qualities that we need in a full-time executive director for the Mercer Athletic Foundation. After my discussion with Bobby about the qualities that we would be looking for in searching for a full-time director for the foundation, it became obvious to me that that person is already here at Mercer University. We were looking for someone who cares deeply about the education and welfare of our student athletes. We were looking for someone who recognizes the significance of and proper role of athletics in the context of an outstanding academic institution. We were looking for someone with experience in raising money. We were looking for someone who is highly regarded in the community, and we were looking for someone who's a hard worker. And after thinking about that array of qualities, I concluded that the right person was already here at Mercer. And I had a discussion with that person on Monday morning. I talked about why I thought he was the right person for the job, and he agreed. So it's my great privilege today to announce that the new Special Assistant to the President and first full-time Executive Director of the Mercer Athletics Foundation, charged with working with us and leading our efforts to generate the resources required to build a great athletics program, will be Bobby Pope. Bobby, come on up here and say a few words.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity and the challenge that we're about to face. The one thing about Mercer is a special place, and we've got special people. And the foundation board that I have been talking with the last 3 or 4 days, or the last 2 days, I guess it is, with Diane Owens, who is our chair, and Henry Arrington and Charlie Cantrell, and people that are embracing this situation. It has really been heartwarming to me, the outreach that they have given me and the support that they're going to give me, because I can only be as successful, or we at Mercer, not I, we at Mercer can only be as successful as the people that will support us. And I know we've got the people in place to make it successful. Jim Cole has done a good job as our part-time executive director for the last 1.5 years. We've got our numbers up. We have a goal of 1,000 members in the Athletic Foundation over the next several years. Now, the president probably wants it next year, and I told him it's probably going to take a little bit longer to do it. We're talking about $1 million that we want to raise, and I think we can do it. We're on the threshold of some great things at Mercer. I can go back to the days when Jim Cole was an athlete here and played here, when we had dilapidated stands at the baseball field. The PA system went out one day, and the PA announcer, who was Bobby Fay, and Bobby was, I'm not going to say mentally challenged, but he was a little bit challenged, he sang the national anthem. We're past that. I stayed in an office in Porter Gym, and how many people ever went into Porter Gym? If you did, raise your hand. Well, we displaced a lot of rodents when we got rid of Porter Gym. We have got the finest facility in the Atlantic Sun Conference right here in the University Center. All our facilities are going to get better. We got a lot of challenges before us. I've been very fortunate to work for 20 years as the athletic director with some great coaches. And a lot of them give you headaches, Jim. But I promise you, they all work for the betterment of our student athletes. I appreciate the opportunity, look forward to working with you, but hey, if you're here, look for my face, because I'm going to ask you for money.
Thank you, Bobby. Bobby's going to do a terrific job in this critically important role. That's $1 million a year, Bobby, not $1 million total. All right, so Bobby's agreed to take on the position as our first full-time executive director of the Mercer Athletics Foundation. Now, what do we do about athletic director? That's a critically important position as well. The director of athletics, in a very real sense, sets the tone for the entire athletics program. Whoever fills that role must be someone who is likewise deeply committed to the educational experience of our student athletes, greatly committed to the welfare of our student athletes. The athletic director is ultimately responsible for the welfare of our student athletes. It must be someone who understands that this university is first and foremost about education, and that our first priority must always be the education of our student athletes, and that's something that we have really excelled at. This past semester, 69% of our student athletes had a grade point average of above 3.0. 69%. last semester. Last semester, the average grade point average of our student athletes was above 3.1. Our conference has a meeting, an end-of-the-year meeting every year, and we all get together and we give out all kinds of awards. Our commissioner, Ted Gumbart, is here, and one of the awards that we give out at that meeting every year is the most important award that we give out. It's called the All-Academic Trophy. And I have to tell you all, when I sit in that meeting, that's the trophy I want more than all the others that are given out at that meeting. I want that all-academic trophy, and Ted, I think we're going to get it this year. I care about the other trophies as well, by the way. Equipping our student athletes to succeed on the courts and courses and fields, I think is very important to their learning experience. I think doing so is necessary for the university to fully achieve the benefits of participation in intercollegiate athletics. So I care about winning. And everybody in this room associated with the university does as well. Jim Cole is a proven winner. And you see that throughout his life story. He's a proven winner. He was a winner in the classroom when he was a student at Mercer. He was a student athlete here, but he didn't come to Mercer on an athletic scholarship. I'll tell you about why in a few minutes. He came to Mercer on an academic scholarship. And when he arrived, he proved himself in the classroom. He was an honors graduate of the university. And then after being an honors graduate of the university, came back and got a master's degree at Mercer. That's a really important qualification for an athletic director. There was a major university a number of years ago who named a new athletics director who had been a student athlete at that school and hadn't graduated. And I thought, now your athletics director sets the tone for the program, and your athletics director is to be a role model for everybody in the program. What kind of a message does it send when your athletics director didn't bother to graduate? So it's really important to me that Jim was an outstanding student and came back and got a master's degree as well. He was a winner in the classroom. He was a very successful student athlete. He was a winner on the fields, and that doesn't mean he always won. In fact, his senior year in high school as a pitcher, his record was 0-14. I'd never heard of such a thing. It was 0-14, which explains why he came on an academic scholarship. But he was persistent and showed up at the baseball field and was a walk-on and made the team and continued working at it and working hard. And he was competitive, and by the time he finished, he was drafted by a Major League Baseball team, the Milwaukee Brewers, and went to the Brewers system. And in his second year, I believe, in the Brewers system, won 18 games and was the biggest winner in the Brewers system. That's what, 5 years removed from being 0-14. That's a great story. He's got a record of competing successfully on the field as a student athlete. He was a successful professional athlete. He was a pitcher in the days before we had pitch counts and JABA rules. There were no such things back in those days, and he blew out his arm, pitching too many innings, and came back to Middle Georgia and became a successful businessman, and then a highly successful political leader. I've watched him work in the General Assembly. He has at least 3 of his colleagues from the General Assembly here today, and I think they could verify that Jim has been a highly effective legislator for his district and a highly successful and effective political leader for the entire state of Georgia. And I'm proud of the work that he's done as a Mercer graduate there in the legislature. Jim is a natural leader. As a former student athlete and coach, he understands collegiate athletics. As a double Mercer alum, he cares passionately about advancing the university. It's my privilege to announce that effective July 1st, Jim Cole will assume the responsibilities of Director of Athletics at Mercer University. Jim, would you come up and say a few words?
Well, thank you. Those are some mighty kind words, and he's right. My senior year was not a pretty one. 0-14 doesn't want to make you pursue athletics much, but I never forget playing in the backyard with my dad in between my senior year, and I knew I wanted to go play ball somewhere. And I want to tell you a short story about how important I see a lot of coaches in the background and how important a university can be to you. Is that my senior year in high school, I was very successful academically. But we was a small private school, and we were very good academically, but we were challenged athletically. And I had 4 8th graders starting on that on my senior team. I was the only senior. If you can do the math, I'm sure there's some people in here. I struck out 21 people in a game one time, but we only played 6 innings. So if you can do the math, I struck out more than 3 an inning just because the catcher would never catch the ball, and so it was just a comedy of errors. But I wanted to play, and I knew I had the talent. I knew I had the confidence to do it, but I just needed somebody to tell me that. And it was a summer league game that year, and I had applied to a lot of other schools and gotten in, was trying to make my decision of where to go. I had sent my money into Mercer to reserve a dorm space, and a coach from Mercer was at a summer league game to see someone else play. His name was Barry Myers, and I wish he was here. But he told me, he said, Jim, and he was just recruiting students. He said, Jim, you can come to Mercer and play baseball for me. Now, that's all I needed to hear. I knew I was coming to Mercer, and Mother, you remember that day. I'd never seen the campus. Most people, when you go to school somewhere, would take a tour and have the academic staff kind of help you get your grades together and what classes you're going to take. We drove my dad's truck over here. We unloaded it. Mother went home. And I'll tell you how disciplined I was at home. I'd had a curfew my whole life. My first night in the dorm room, I sat by the phone because I knew Mother was going to call to see if I was out past curfew. She never called, so I appreciate that. But that's the effect that one coach or one individual of this university, and I look around this room and I see so many people a part of this university, had on me, because that was a watershed moment in my life. I look right there at Lawson and Caroline. I wouldn't have them if it wasn't for Mercer. I wouldn't have Galen. I wouldn't have had a political career, business. I wouldn't live in Forsyth. I'd still be in Augusta. And that's because of one person took a chance on me. And I've never forgotten that. Never. In the legislature, whenever I had a chance to fight for Mercer, to do what I could, I knew how important that university was to me. And when I got here that first day, I never will forget, Bobby Pope welcomed me. He was in the old building. And where he's taken us is truly remarkable. But I'm honored to have the opportunity to take us further into the future. And what I can offer is this. As Bill said, academics, no question. That's as important as anything. Integrity, doing things the right way. This is how I view my tenure as Director of Athletics, is that we are going to win. And we're going to win this way. There's 3 areas of winning that I think are so critical. One is that we're going to prepare a plan and a strategy, and we're all going to work together, the whole university, in teaching our student athletes to battle and win in the classroom. And then we're going to come up with a strategy and teach them how to battle and win on the courts and the fields. And those two things will build an individual that will help them battle and win in the most important game you'll ever have. And that's when you leave here. When you become a member of society and you raise children and you're in your church, the lessons you're going to learn here at Mercer are going to make you and our student athletes a successful part of society. And that's winning to me. So every day will be a battle to be the best we can be, to compete, because you know everybody in here is out in the real world. It's tough. And that's what athletics and a university can do for you. And I'm so excited to be part of that. And let me make this clear. Bobby Pope is the athletics director. And I'm going to learn from him. I'm looking forward to him being my mentor. And Bobby, I appreciate all you've done for me now, and I look forward to the next 6 months because I need your help. I need my family's help, and my mom and dad, and if I start naming people, I can't name enough of them. So guys, I'm truly grateful, I'm blessed, and I just look forward to representing this university in a proud way. Thank you.
One thing I've learned in getting to know Jim over the last 4 years is that a big part of Jim's success has been his wife, Galen. Galen, stand up and let these folks see who you are. Many of our most successful and outstanding graduates are former student athletes. Jim is a good example of that. Diane Owens is another great example of that. Diane played basketball here in the 1970s. What was the nickname of our women's basketball team?
The Teddy Bears.
The Teddy Bears. We couldn't do that today, but in the 70s that was still acceptable. The Teddy Bears. Diane competed as a student athlete, was a great student, went on to law school, and has had a highly successful career as a courtroom lawyer with a major law firm in Atlanta. She's also been a tremendous asset to the university. She came on our Board of Trustees of the university 3 years ago and immediately became a leader on the board. I went on the executive committee of the board, and in her first term as a member of the Board of Trustees did something unheard of, and that is she became the chair of the executive committee in her first term as a trustee at the university, became the first woman to ever chair the executive committee of the Board of Trustees of Mercer University. She supports the university with her time. She supports the university with her resources. She cares a great deal about athletics, and she serves as the chair of the Mercer Athletic Foundation. Diane, I'd like you to come up and make a few comments. Thanks for being here today.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am here today as representative of the 200-plus members of the Mercer Athletic Foundation to share with you our absolute delight that Bobby Pope has agreed to lend to us his considerable talents and his time as we move forward into the future. This is an exciting day for the Athletic Foundation for several reasons. First of all, we are grateful for the commitment of the university to establish a full-time director for our foundation. We believe this will help us grow the foundation as we move forward. We are also very excited about Bobby Pope coming to work with us. Under his leadership, we look forward to the future with great optimism. We have had a good start. Thank you, Jim Cole, for all the work you've done in the past couple of years to get us started. I have to tell you that I am convinced that Bobby's particular talents are exactly right for what we need moving forward in the future. We're very excited about the opportunities he will bring to us to grow this foundation and to allow us to continue to contribute to the opportunities and benefits of our student athletes and to hopefully contribute to their continued success. Thank you.
Diane. Well, as you can tell, we're excited about Bobby taking on this new role and Jim turning down the governor's appointment and joining us. And I think this will be a great step for Mercer Athletics. Thank you all for being here. I know some of you on the media will want to talk with these folks individually, and they'll be available to you for that. With that, we're adjourned.